Sometimes the biggest thing in the way of our happiness is our own selves. In this conversation, we'll learn 5 principles for getting out of our own way and experiencing personal mastery. Welcome to Happiness Adventure. I'm Lisa, and together we'll explore ways to cultivate real joy in our lives. Welcome, Roddy.
Hey, Lisa.
You have a really interesting experience and background because you were a personal physician, a medical doctor, and then you ran a medical company, and now you do coaching. So you come at this with a lot of insight, and you work with people on something called personal mastery. And there are 5 principles you talk about. What are those?
So let me start first with what personal mastery is, and I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
All your organs in your body work for you, except for one. There's one organ that you work for. Which is that?
My brain.
Oh yeah, you know the answer. That's right. And it's an extraordinary thing, right, that my heart beats 72 times a minute to serve me, my lungs pump 12 times a minute to serve me, but I wake up in the morning and my brain says, this is a bad day, and so it's a bad day. Or, Roddy, you feel hungry, and so I get up in obedience to my brain and I go through to the kitchen and I push something in my face. And those are perhaps slightly trivial examples, but the truth is, if we each analyze our own lives, this extraordinary gift that differentiates us from all other mammals, our brain, we become the servant to our brain, and it shouldn't be that way. So for me, personal mastery is when we understand the functionality of our brain well enough that we're able to have it and its tremendous power working for us. The 5 principles I work with are somewhat sequential steps in my own journey of discovery. And the first one is very simply that we're designed perfectly. After 40 million years of iterative design, Mother Nature knew what she was doing. And so the first thing for us to understand is that we're not a mistake. And if things are going wrong, we haven't understood our intrinsic design. And in fact, the second principle is things go right when we honor our design. Your interviews and your programs around happiness, we're designed to be happy. And yet we have an epidemic of unhappiness. That means we're not respecting and honoring our fundamental design. We're doing something wrong, which takes me to the next step, which is personal mastery. And understanding how we become the master of our own brain, our own intellect, our own emotions, that's the best way to secure Mother Nature's gift to us, which is happiness and success. I have 2 other principles that I add on to that. The first one is it's a choice. And I use the phrase over and over again, it's in our own hands. And the gift we have is, it truly is a choice. And if you want to take one thing away from this, choose happiness. Choose happiness. And you'll be amazed how often we choose against happiness. And then my final principle, which ties in a little to gratitude, is that success is contagious. The body is designed in a self-healing way. So is our psyche. And if we breed happiness in some domains of our life, it's contagious. If I foster happiness in one relationship, it's contagious. If I secure happiness at work, it goes home with me. So those are the 5 things that I've learned and guide my work and my life.
What is an example of someone who has applied one of those principles and made a change?
One of the things I care about most is creativity. And as we lose our happiness, that's one of the first things to go. And the world is driven by our incredible creativity. And so I love working with artists. And I had a very beautiful artist who came to me who had completely lost her edge. And as she lost purpose and direction and the happiness that was the engine of her creativity, so her art just dried up. And she's a well-known artist. And this was devastating. And just the thrill of helping her to rediscover that. She said something very beautiful. She sent me an email afterwards and she said, Roddy, thank you for helping me to find the woman I was meant to be.
Wow.
And every one of us is meant to be substantial and powerful and creative and beautiful. And that's what keeps me going.
If there is one action that we could take starting today that would put us on the path, what would that be?
I'm going to give you 2 just because I'm stubborn and difficult and there's no silver bullet. Ask how you can do better every day without criticism. just the strong knowledge that every one of us has upside. And that's powerful. And the second one is celebrate. Celebrate with gratitude. And I have a very simple exercise, and this is your one silver bullet for today. Write down the 3 things that you're most proud of, the 3 assets that make you Lisa, powerfully Lisa, and just hold on to those every day. And you'll be amazed at the power of that single action.
Thank you so much, Roddy. I've been speaking to Dr. Roddy Carter about the 5 principles that help you gain personal mastery and more happiness. In the comments, I'd love to hear from you. What are 3 things about you that you're most proud of? Thank you for joining me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon on our next happiness adventure.